Hi there, this is Penelope, and this is a slightly longer version of how I teach maths in the 21st century. The way I teach maths now is a three-pronged approach. There's a textbook with an associated online test bank. There's a teaching and learning platform. I use Podio, and there's videos. Once upon a time, I was a secondary teacher. I taught a course during my training year at what was Christchurch Polytech. I did a short stint teaching at Otago Polytech on the Cromwell campus, and then once I moved to Wellington, I lectured at Victoria University, and then I moved to the Wellington Institute of Technology. Some of my teaching at VUW was economics and at Otago as well, but the majority of it has been maths. Always maths. I always wanted to be a maths teacher, and it's all I've done in my life. When I was at Victoria University, I didn't have to do research. It wasn't part of my job, but I did have to look after some 2,000 students as well as teach some of them, though not all of them, in any given trimester. Back then, I did kind of want to do research. I did want to write on what the Americans call mathsphere. I haven't done that yet, but once I started teaching at Welltech, I did feel I could do better by teaching better, and that in itself would allay my students' fears. Once the fear has gone, then the learning is easy. To that end, I developed over the next few years a complicated system when you first look at it, but one that does get results. In trimester 1, 2021, teaching entirely using this method, I had 100% pass rate in MG 5004, Engineering Maths 1 for the BEng Tech. One of the problems I found when I moved from a university environment to a technical institute was that students were not university level students. I should have figured that out, but it took me a while. Asking them to do preparation for classes didn't work. They didn't. Asking them to complete work before submitting an assignment on that topic didn't work either. I had to figure out a way of making it compulsory without making it compulsory, yet at the same time allowing the students to add to what they know and to take baby steps that were measurable in their success, and so on. All of these are just best practices pedagogically, but I just put them all together in one way. I introduced Mymathlab. Mymathlab is an online system for doing problems. It comes with a textbook. Students buy a subscription to it, and it enables them to practice what they've learned. Usually the teacher, the tutor, the lecturer guides the students to what they need to do and sets up individualized testing for each student, individualized assignments as well. There are a few errors in the system. You can't help that. They're designed by humans. Some of the ones that I have written for textbooks myself are sadly got the few errors in it. But the students ended up getting frustrated with these errors, and it made them hate maths even more. But it wasn't the maths, it was the system. They were doing this as homework. I had to turn this around because it was achieving the opposite of what I wanted to achieve. So, fast forward 9 years, I think, to how I teach now. The students start the process for each of the classes during the course by doing a quick online quiz on Mymathlab. And it's on the topic of the day, and for some courses it's called pre-class test or various words that describe that. They note down what they get wrong, so they essentially know what they don't know. Then they watch a video. I created these so they are on topic exactly. And again, they make their own notes, mainly on what they don't understand yet. Okay, so they're not making notes on everything because there's no point in that. At the start of each class, in class time by now, there's another short online quiz, and again, they note what they don't know. They note what they get wrong. Then I take over. when I was on campus, actually it does seem a very long time ago, but I would receive those questions and start my part of the class, and I'd answer those on the whiteboard. I next presented some more engineering-based examples, answered more questions, and set the student to work on both textbook and Mymathlab questions while I was there to help them. In essence, what was happening was the students did what had been homework, but now classwork with me there to help. The only traditional homework they had to complete was a weekly assignment that was written and a weekly online test, each of which did contribute to the student's final grade. The non-traditional homework was the watching of a video after having taken a short quiz. Really low anxiety stuff. I used this method back then when I was doing face-to-face in all 3 levels of the maths courses that I was teaching. So that's foundation, diploma, and degree in engineering as it happens. Now that I'm teaching remotely, the part of my teaching that was standing at the front of the classroom in front of the whiteboard is now done by video conferencing. I'm there. I'm live. My face is showing in the corner of the screen. And I explained to my students that this is exactly what they would be getting if I was in the room with me. They just can't touch me, or more importantly, can't breathe on me. Some students that were repeating from the face-to-face knew that what they were seeing via their computer screens was indeed exactly what it was that I did previously. After the video conferencing part has ended, I stay at my desk, logged in, so that students can flick me an email and I can reopen the Zoom link for one-on-one help. I can also make little videos if somebody's got a problem on a question. Usually then I would distribute those to everybody, or I could explain the answer to their question in an email, whatever the question or the student needed. I do tend to make myself available from about 7:30 a.m. until 9 p.m. And I know it's pretty crazy, but it does help the students, and really that's what I'm about. Possibly, maybe, 4 years ago, my then program manager asked me to trial the Emporium method. He'd been asked to do so. If I recall correctly, it was TEC that asked him, though this may not be right. But as he was asking me this, he said, "But this is how you teach anyway." On checking the Emporium method, I did a Google search on it. There are 9 points to it, number 2 of which is on the screen there in front of you. But what I found was that I had developed this method, the Emporium method, completely ignorant of the research and money, lots of money, that went into the development of it in the States. Wish I'd had some of that money, it would have helped. A quick Google search on it will explain more succinctly than I can. The main parts of it, though, are what's there: class time, doing rather than listening, learner-centered, self-directed, teacher as partner or helper. Now, before I got to where I am now, I was starting to become frustrated with using the teaching and learning platform that was provided by my institute. So I purchased a subscription to a platform called Podio. Now, I had taken courses myself online using various systems, various platforms, but this on balance seemed the best. I started using it last year when New Zealand went into lockdown the first time and we all had to teach classes strictly online. It was developed as a platform for people and businesses to be able to sell courses and to allow students from everywhere to enroll. But as I was teaching it to Welltech students, I offered it to them free. I paid, but they didn't. They didn't need to because it was covered in their enrolment fee. And enrolment was by invitation only, so that only those enrolled in the course could view it. The students love it. They really, really do. They can proceed from one topic to the next or back again. They can see what they've done because the menu crosses out what they have accessed, and they can re-access later. I can see what they've done as well. This is what it looks like when they log into the engineering mathematics for the degree level. I have then put here a link to the what it actually looks like in there. Hi there, this is Penelope. This is a short overview in video form of how Podio works for both teachers and learners. So the students land on this page, and then you can go to wherever you want. You can go to the table of contents. You can change the view so that the contents list is on the left. Videos, PDFs. And the way the students work is they read this section and then they move on. There's a little button, not in this view, but there's a little button and it takes them to the next section before you start in this case. So everything is there. Once they've watched the video here, I won't let me write on it. Once they've watched the video there, they can follow the PowerPoint slides, or they can follow the PowerPoint slides with the video. Then it tells them what textbook questions they need to do, Mymathlab, then next, then next, then next, and they can just follow through. And it's set up so that everything is there. Some of the videos are shorter, like the video on composite functions, poles of a rational function, etc. And then textbook questions, Mymathlab exercises, and the assignment. Again, list of learning objectives. Then lesson 1 is about a bit of a blurb about what is in lesson 1. Then there's a next button, a video, PDF, etc., etc. And you can just follow your way through. Now, when I access the teacher version, I can see what a student has done. I can see how many times they've accessed it. I can see when they last accessed it, and I can see what they have accessed, which means I can be involved in their learning. I can help them by, a little prod in the right direction, or I can say, you seem to have been there for a while. Are you stuck? How can I help? And so on. So this is Podio. This is how I have set up all of my classes for maths now. And I'm not selling Podio, not at all, but I've just found that it is a learning and teaching platform that works for my students and for learning of maths. Now that you've watched the quick overview of what it looks like inside, anybody that's got any more questions, the best contact for me is actually on my business email. And the reason for that is that in order to run Podio, I have to have a business address and I have to have a domain name. And using my institute's one wasn't quite right for this. So that's why it's my own personal business email address for you to ask me any questions that you might have on this. Okay, I look forward to hearing from you.